I would be very comfortable saying that Unleashed has fixed our problem, in that we now have a very good picture of our costs and where our products sit. My name's Paul White. I work at the Tailor-Made Spirits company. My job title is CEO, and we manage the West Winds Gin brand. What makes a good gin? Well, a good gin is like a good wine. It should be balanced, has to have great flavour, and from our perspective, it has to provide something that's a little bit different. So we focus on using Australian botanicals, but not just for the sake of using Australian botanicals, but to achieve a certain flavour profile, to make a statement about what is possible with gin and to make things that people love to taste and drink. It's important to have good gin because life's too short to drink bad booze. So with the time we have, we may as well be drinking the best that we can get, and that, from our perspective, is the best flavours possible. So at West Winds we operate in multiple locations. So we actually do all of our distilling in Margaret River, have a head office in North Fremantle in WA, we have a sales team based in New South Wales, we have bottling facilities in Melbourne, canning facilities in Melbourne as well. So across all those locations, it was impossible to track where anything was, where it had been moved to, and then that actually made it then very hard to plan moving forward as to what we needed to do to produce. So the Excel spreadsheet model did not work. It worked okay in the very early days when we were a very small company with one location, but as we've grown, it was untenable. Prior to using Unleashed, we were managing our inventory through a combination of MyOb and Excel spreadsheets. We found that quite unsatisfactory in that we could only manage single locations, couldn't manage it from multiple desktops, mobile phones, etc. in different places by different people. And the Excel option was very clunky. So the transition from MyOb to Unleashed was relatively straightforward. We did that in conjunction with the transition from MyOb to Xero. So the first part was transitioning over to Xero, and then Unleashed plugged straight into Xero. And that's where we used a company called Elevate Accounting to provide guidance on how to actually do that implementation. We decided to leave spreadsheets behind in terms of managing our inventory because it was very unwieldy, almost impossible for multiple people to do at one time, and it only gave one view of what we needed in the inventory, so i.e. location. It was a really hard way to manage costs as well and understand our cost structures. The benefits of cloud-based software for us are, one, we can access it from multiple locations. Secondly, it is very cost effective, and thirdly, we don't have to worry about things like backups. Using Unleashed helped us fix our inventory management system by giving us a holistic view of where our products were, so numbers, locations, and also what it cost to produce those products, and allowed us to track everything right back to the raw ingredients that goes into our gins. So we found about Unleashed through two different sources. One was through a government grant and some business process improvement work that was done for us, and the other one was a couple of reference cases from third parties that have been using Unleashed in the alcohol industry. In our old systems, we had no way of really tracking our costs, so it was always a bit of spreadsheet guesstimates and then endless hours trying to reconcile everything after we'd done bottling runs. Now we have it on the fly, so we know as soon as we've entered the costs from a bottling run, how those costs have varied from run to run, and that helps us immeasurably in terms of entering new markets, working out what margins we want to achieve, etc. We didn't look at a lot of other systems, so the recommendations that were given to us by the parties were that Unleashed would be a very good fit for our business. Also recognised that it had good integration with Xero. We'd already made the decision to move from MyOb to Xero because it suited our needs much better and had much greater integration capabilities. So the way we've set up Unleashed is we have multiple locations. So we have warehouses across the country. We also have the option to have warehouses internationally. And then as we bottle and can stock, then we move that stock between those different locations. Going back further, as we develop all of our products, we actually tie them right back to the raw materials. So we actually have a really good picture of our costs and where all of the ingredients as well as the final products sit. There's probably two areas which we've noticed a real difference in terms of being able to measure the business. One is we have a much better understanding of our cost structures now. Whereas before it was somewhat guesswork, now we have a really good handle on it. And the other area is we no longer need to manually rekey all of our internet orders, which has saved us a lot of time. Unleashed fits into our plans for growth in that it will allow us to have a really good picture of our cost structures going forward, which helps us in terms of setting pricing, will also help us track all of our inventory really well, which allows us to manage our cash flow a lot better.